You do not track back when the ball goes over the baseline, taking a break up near the halfway line. You recover the ball in midfield but give a babbly pass in front of Alan, and unluckily Andy recovers it. You seem to be out of gas. Why you bent over using your hockey stick as a crutch at the end of this play? If you're feeling short on energy, you should call yourself off, take a short break, and come back on. You identify a deep free wide man and track back, so initially the right thing to do. But Roger comes across and the play develops. You become our deepest player and we're now attacking a man light. They have a head out and you're on the halfway line some 21 seconds later. Once you've sorted out the initial problem, you need to get back to your job. I'm all for a bit of flexibility, but I've no idea what position you're trying to play. You just seem to run around after the ball for well over a minute. Switching can be effective, but you need to establish yourself in your designated position. Watch the video again and start to visualize what you should be doing. You seem to be hiding upfield so much so that Cliff cannot go where he wants. You're under no pressure and can pass the free almost anywhere, but you decide to pass it to a player with two men on him. Pick the right pass, don't be influenced by perceived status. You make a good decision to get into the circle as Budgie had gone to get the ball, but you seem to get bored of that. Once you've done that, you need to let Budgie know and you need to stay there for the passage of play. You have charged forward, too high for my liking the previous attack. We don't reset, leaving the top of the circle exposed. The lessons are when the ball is wide and deep in the right, we must make sure we have a solid back four spread across the pitch, and our disengaged midfielder has to provide cover. After the push in, you go a little high for my liking, but do a nice lead. You then attempt a blind shovel into the circle instead of using Roger. This is a classic situation where we needed to reset, back and around. Again, good positioning, but you don't appear to know what you're going to do with the ball when you get it, and you dally too long and lose possession. You need to know what you're going to do with the ball before you get it. Good support. When you get the ball, you make a blind pass towards Henry. If you let the ball go across you with a small dummy, you'd have been at the head of the circle. You're facing the right touchline and make no attempt to open up your body. You need to have a much more open stance as Richard and Henry are totally on mark to your left. You get the ball into the centre at the second attempt. Great work to get the rebound first, but you pass it straight to them. You control it better the second time and make a good pass. You need to make sure your first touch always sets up the pass. You started in a really good position, but then you go charging up onto the baseline, leaving the key top of the circle position completely vacant. Robert comes across, but instead of you dropping back to the top of the circle, he drops back about halfway, leaving no one at the top of the circle where we really needed a player. You need to be more disciplined. For the first of our 3-4 circle penetrations of the second half, you were very high. Any particular reason? You have a tendency to go on the touchline from our head out, which is exactly what we would want them to do. Not a great first touch. Look how far away from the play you find yourself. You need to stay inside. It's the forward who wants to make this run. Budgie's inside, but is he going to come back and cover? You need to be thinking about supporting the play and covering at the same time. Free is given against us and you cover in. The free is reversed and Carl steps into your place, so you should now be playing centre back. You're looking to get the ball and load the space when you should have been tracking across to fill the space left by Carl 10 yards in front of Shaw. You take up a good position for Carl and have plenty of space. You decide to dribble and get too close to the defender, forcing him to play a bubbly pass. Why did you not just pass it? Did you also not notice that Carl went wide and we had no cover in the middle of the pitch? Good positioning, but not the best first touch. You do well to end up with a free. Why are you pulling the ball across a reverse stick when you could have gone ball-bum defender? You need to work on counter-clockwise turns to protect the ball. Great starting point to support Budgie on the break, but why are you heading off to the right wing towards their defender? If you'd come down the middle of the pitch, Budgie would have had an easy layoff. Work on making more direct supporting runs. Look at the space that's in front of you when Willie eventually plays that back. This is the very time to drive onto the ball and attack the circle. You then do a lot of hard work covering back, but when Carl picked up the ball, you did not attempt to get close to him. The same with Henry. You need to be coming shorter in order to make the passing options easier. You support play well and move the ball forward, but when you get the ball back, you try to force it through 4 USA players. If you looked up, you'd have seen Martin Kremen totally marked 10 yards square of you. That was the ball. You are playing right midfield. You go charging into the channel where a potential post pass might go. Then when the ball goes to Jimmy, you're not there for the pass and Jimmy is robbed. You need to stay patient in our shape. We have a free in your zone, but Richard decides to take it. We're missing a centre half. You go and stand in the baseline and we'll play the ball up to no one top circle. If someone leaves their position, then the normal approach is for you to go into theirs. Great positioning, so what way do you want to play? You turn clockwise, whereas I would have gone counterclockwise. Good ball nevertheless to Richard. Great effort to support Budgie on the break, but why are you heading off behind their keeper when holding top of the circle would have been a better choice? Good working over, but you choose to go wide when as an inside forward you should be inside. The ball up the line should be for the forwards to come back to pop into you. If you go wide, you reduce our options. You're in great space and the game opens up for you to drive forward. You pass across the open side of 3 USA players. Just look at the top of the screen, you'll see where the easy pass was. Great work to find the space and a lovely counterclockwise turn. Lovely work, shame about the choice and execution of pass. You are higher than Cliff and both are in the same post. One of you should have gone to the other post. However, I do like your reaction speed at the breakdown. Some good tracking, covering, and good composure on the ball here is exactly what we need. Keep it up. Good movement from the long corner and a good pick up in the circle. Looks like you're a little unfortunate not to get a short corner, but the ball did break to Robert, who should have done better. You took up a good position and were able to pick off the pass and then make a sharp pass to Richard and get our next attack going. You time your support run very well and get into a perfect position, perfect approach, and you shoot wide of the post where we had a player. Good early pass to Richard, and we get a circle penetration. Simple, but very important. Here, some good defensive covering and a good tackle. Well done. Your tracking back was good, but your body shape wasn't. You let your man get goal side of you and are facing our byline. You need to work on this. You're completely out of position and making no effort to get back to the danger area. You seem to have completely switched off. You need to work on your mental strength. If you're feeling it, take a break. Don't wait for someone to call you. On the first tackle attempt, you have one hand on a waving stick, and on the second one, your right foot forward. You need to get into the right places with the stick under control to make tackles. You do a great job of covering back and pick up a man. However, as the play develops, you do not track your man and you decide to focus on the ball, leaving me to do the tracking back. You've dropped into the back three, so you really need to be tracking the player you've decided to pick up. This is all part of the mental strength, being able to stay with the man. You react quickly to the turnover and work to get yourself back into defensive place. You don't get around and play a reverse stick ball and give away the free. You wander off into the circle, allowing them to come straight in and send a really dangerous ball across goal, which goes for a long corner. You've done the hard work. You need to be composed on the ball and you need to think about what you should have done there. Return of the ball, but you don't find your man. It's okay to tuck in when the ball is on the other side, but on your side, you need to have your man. Welcome to the game, but you really must follow your man around the circle. You let him go, so I have to go to him. Now you need to get the sweeper. You hang around at the top of the circle so Alan gets exposed. Everyone loses their man from time to time. It's what you do next that counts. They hit a long ball across the pitch, but you're watching instead of heading back to protect the head of the circle. Then you let Budgie take your man. You need to think red zone much quicker. You don't locate your man. Eventually you take Alan's man, but then you don't stay with him. We win the ball, but instead of maintaining cover, as Sean dribbles into the corner, you go beyond their man. Robert calls you, but you don't take the near man, you go into the circle. You need to identify your man and stay with him. Remember the extra cover required when we have the ball deep and wide. You lead forward, and when we lose the ball, you look ready for a rest. You get back, but for some reason you stop on the 25. Their midfielder runs straight past you and is all alone at the top of the circle. You did not think red zone and you switched off. This is all part of the mental strength, being able to get to and stay with a man rather than ball watching. You have the wrong body shape to defend on the left. You then go for a right foot forward swinging jab tackle, which results in a free. You then don't get in a good position and are turned. You then stop and take your bent back stance. You need to get into the right place with the stick under control to make telling tackles. You get across to the attacker but stand off a bit so he can lift his head and make the pass. You just need to engage once you've re-established yourself. Get a little closer to the ball carrier. Here we lose the ball, but there's a delay before you react. We end up with 3 players on one of theirs and they're inside right free. I'm all for players getting back, but we need to maintain some sort of shape. You are quick to identify a free man and you take responsibility. Your desire to cover is amazing, but you end up on Alan's man. You should have been calling Alan to go with that man. You should have been trying to stay in the inside left channel. You are facing their baseline this time rather than the sideline, and your jab tackle reaches budgie. Much better body shape on this tackle than the previous one. Here you remember to cover back after the corner. Very simple, but very, very important. Again, good defensive work after the corner broke down. Simple, but very important. When play breaks down, you did an excellent job of getting to the top of the circle to defend and could have picked up the runner if Carl had not covered back. Excellent work rate. Good job at trying to get Budgie in the right place, and when they break the initial press, your rotation is as agreed. You get yourself into a great position, but the hit out much better than where you were for the first Belgium goal. Well done. Good setting up of the W, just exactly what we're looking for. Reasonable setup from you. You're a little bit higher than I would have liked, as discussed in lead. Good reaction to closing down your man and following throughout this passive play. When you're attempting to tackle, your positioning is all wrong. You're right foot led and you're actually facing the sideline. You need to get around and get that left foot forward so you're approaching with an open sided stick.